Happy Friday. Welcome to Fast Fact Friday. My name is Michelle and you're with Revolutionary Resume for some job market updates and to talk about some interviewing tips and tricks today. Let's get started. First in the news, Verizon. They are going to cut 15,000 jobs in their 5G department. That is approximately 25% of that department. So it's kind of a huge slice of jobs. So if you were looking to job hunt, Verizon's not going to be the spot, my friends. What else do we have going on this week? We have the shutdown ending stopped the severance freeze for the laid off federal employees. So the severance will be back in place, not frozen, because the government is running again. Synopsys layoffs. On the 9th, the board of directors approved a restructuring plan, and it is expected to result in the termination of approximately 10% of their entire workforce. So that is a pretty significant chunk. Again, if you're job hunting, I would not recommend Synopsys. Available after hours. Many of us have had jobs, I don't know if you have, I have, where you've had to be available kind of 24/7. Some jobs warrant that. For example, I was working at a third-party staffing firm I helped start. I'm going to, in manufacturing production, with facilities who had third shift operations. So of course I'm going to get that call in the middle of the night if there's any issues with my folks. Is it worth it? Is the payoff worth it to you with the whole work-life balance, all this and that? I don't believe it is. There was an article out that asserted that if you knew that going in, that anything was fair game and you're just being a crybaby if you don't want to be available 24/7. And that's just wrong. You deserve to not be at work all of the time. If it's a quick answer here and there, that's one thing. And I have been places that are extremely demanding jobs that literally my bosses are like, you need to take the weekend off. You have been doing great. I don't want to see you get burnt out. Please take the weekend off. So you've just got to decide for you what that looks like. Are you going to be okay with being available after hours? Maybe you are. Sorry. And Tika is another one that is doing a whole bunch of layoffs. They've had a decrease of 20.8% compared to the previous quarter and a drop of 46.7% from the previous year. So it is a huge drop off. So they are looking at layoffs as well. You've got to just kind of always keep on top of these things. That's why I'm here. We already talked about Synopsys. Let's talk about AI in the application process and for the employer side in HR. What does that look like for recruiting? So 70% of hiring managers surveyed say they trust AI to make faster and better hiring decisions. Only 8% of job seekers call that fair. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. I don't believe that AI can do as good of a job at sorting through resumes as a human being can. But with the sheer volume of people applying, I see why people might say it's good enough. Not realizing those are real people on the other side of those resumes. And that is a real problem in general in our world, right? There's somebody real on the other side of that comment. There's somebody real on the in the hiring team. Now, 46% of job seekers have lost trust in hiring because of that. 42% actually specifically blame AI. 41% of candidates are hacking AI hiring systems. There's a lot of ways to hack it. There's all these services that offer to auto apply you to a bunch of jobs. I think that's useless, even though at some point it is a numbers game. I don't think that helps, because if you wanted to tweak your cover letter or wanted to make sure you had a couple of the, very important skills to that employer in your resume that would take like less than a 5-minute edit to download to upload, you're just not going to have the opportunity because it's just mass applying you. So you've got to decide if it's worth it, right? 91% of recruiters are spotting the deception. So if you're using those services, and I'm not here to tank anybody's business model, if you're using those services, there is a chance that those recruiters are spotting you. There are a couple things I can tell you when candidates or clients send me stuff that I can tell was written with AI. It gives me a good idea and a good base to go on from their job, but it's just clearly AI. So keep that in mind if you're using some of the tools out there. Recruiters do spot that. So with the shutdown having ended, the September report from the BLS, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, was finally released. The U.S. economy added 119,000 more jobs. The unemployment rate ticked up again at 4.4. So, not great, not bad. That is really all I have for the job news updates. Let me tell you that right now, one of the things you can do to be very prepared, I was just chatting with a friend about, Kroger's return to office and what that might mean for pending reduction in workforce is coming along, is to be prepared. One of those things is have your behavioral answers ready to go. What the heck does Michelle mean by that? If you're newer here, I've talked before and I'm going to talk again about the STAR behavioral method questions. And that is the one that most recruiters and hiring managers will use in an interviewing situation. What does STAR stand for? Situation, task, action, response. Okay. What are we going to do? Let's explain this. Let's tell you a story. You want to have 3 to 5 of these ready to answer any questions or concerns. You want to make sure they're concise. You want to make sure you wrap it up well with a little bow on top. So what does that look like? Let me give you a scenario that I've used before. This does not represent any real person, real or imagined. I'm working the service desk on a Tuesday afternoon. Big sale just started at Walmart, and I have a mother with a screaming toddler just in my line. She's only one person back. The line's forming pretty quickly behind her, and she is very upset because she had a rather large ticket item. I believe it might have been a computer that rang up 50% more than what the tag had said. And I could not find that item in the system anywhere. And it turns out she had checked out back at our sporting goods counter. So I called them to see if they could run over to electronics and check for this particular computer. They got back on the line with me. They let me know that it was in fact misplaced. So the price would have read wrong to the customer. I gave her her refund. She was thrilled. The people in line were thrilled it didn't take all day. And the only one not happy at the end of that scenario was the toddler. So you want to make sure to explain what the situation was, right? As a Tuesday at Walmart, I was working the service desk. Task, I'm tasked with taking care of the customers who come up to the service desk. Action, what did I do? I called back got the situation from her, called back to Sporting Goods, asked him to go check a thing for me. And what was the result? I was able to refund that, and everybody was happy. Notice how I used I. When you are in an interview, it's going to be kind of antithetical to what we're always taught, where it's always like, teams win and do the best for the team and all that kind of stuff. In an interview, I'm not interviewing your team. I'm not interviewing the whole facility. I'm interviewing you. So you need to make sure to really be able to emphasize your role and what you did to impact that. And that is what I have for you today. So you've got a job market update. Go work. You have homework. Go work on those behavioral questions. 3 to 5 of them. Have those answers ready to go and practice them in front of the mirror so that you don't sound rehearsed, but you also don't stutter and skip over things, and you find holes in your story, and you'll perfect it over time. And I have faith in you. Take care of yourself and each other, and have an amazing weekend. I'll see you here next Friday. Give me a like and a follow.